Hello everyone, I'm Brian, and welcome to part 2. So I thought about it a little bit, and I don't know why until I read the title that kind of clicked for me at the end. So, the path of action, I was kind of asking a question at the end of part 1. But, and he was talking about the businessman. I thought about that a little bit. He talked about the businessman's great and hard working and everything, and started an empire. And then he compared that businessman to someone like Martin Luther and Mahatma Gandhi. But I mean, they're how do I say? While Mahatma Gandhi and Martin Luther push for social change, which is a good thing, but the businessman also, in a sense, made some changes in terms of the individuals that he hired. So now these individuals aren't, potentially homeless, or now they have a job to make money. So it's a different kind of path of action. While it may not be a social change of type of action, but it is an action of changing people's lives for the better for the most part. So, and also him starting a business took great risk in his on his part with great rewards. So he was conscious of making the decision. There was a risk reward to it. Can't remember what the other ones were. Conscious decision, risk reward. Wow, how come I can't remember the other one? Was there 4, I think, total? The last one being the cosmic result. I can remember that one because that's what everyone's familiar with. But anyways, so basically, I wonder why the businessman doesn't necessarily count. I mean, maybe he's inspired people to create their own business, help people create their own business, help maybe even poor countries or underdeveloped countries, and provided them with resources to build up or something. I mean, again, we don't know what this business person has done, but he has done, again, some actions. But I guess the whole point is the fact of the path of action, the action that is done. He created this big empire, even though he didn't expand out of it in terms of helping, but he helped those within his empire, his business, basically. Now the people that he hired now have better lives because of him, probably. I wonder if that would change his answer. I think the way he was getting at was the fact that because he started his business but didn't really help other people. He just hired people just to do the job, but didn't really help them out in a direct sense, like the Martin Luther and Mahatma Gandhi. They push for social change, but I mean, there's only so much social change you can push once it becomes, genuinely equal. After a point, the only thing you can really do is just make their lives better. But anyways, let's go ahead and continue.
So Karma Yoga also requires preparation. Let me go ahead. Okay, a quick note on what Shankara and Vivekananda thought of Karma Yoga. Adi Shankaracharya, of the Advaita Vedanta, yes? Or am I giving trouble to the poor camera running around here and there? Adi Shankaracharya, I'm going to summarize his position very quickly.
I said all because it said like no cameras, no photography or anything like that.
He is often regarded as a person who criticized or downplayed karma, even Karma Yoga. That's true and not true. Let's see.
That's yes and no. Like Hinduism, as he says earlier.
Vivekananda on Karma Yoga. This is the thing. This will be familiar to many people who come to the Vedanta Society. From Adi Shankara's perspective, what is spiritual practice? It's this matrix. You remember the problem solution method? Yeah. So problem solution and method. very quickly. Do any of you remember? First problem? Ignorance.
Oh, okay. Knowledge.
I see that repetition has a value. Ignorance. And the solution is, of course, knowledge. Yes. And the method is Jnana Yoga. Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. Jnana Yoga. The method of Jnana Yoga. And then the next level of problems is the scattered mind. Unfocused mind, which is a big problem today. Even in Harvard University, I see all these brilliant kids, but they are always on there. No, I'm being unfair. Almost nobody was on there, but maybe they were a little overawed to be on in Harvard, but very soon they'll get back on their mobiles and all. Scattered mind. And the solution
Focus
is
mind.
focus. Method is Raja Yoga. Who says? Adi Shankaracharya, Shankara's approach. Raja Yoga, meditation. He will even put bhakti here. Because it gives you focus on God. In that sense only. Then third and last, bottom level of problems, impure mind.
Dirty mind.
Solution, no-brainer, pure mind.
Is that bhakti yoga? As in like,
Method, here we are, karma yoga.
oh. But it said this is the last. I thought there was
So
bhakti
this
yoga.
is in Sanskrit, chitta mala. Pure mind, chitta shuddhi. Chitta shuddhi means purification of the mind. With karma yoga, mind is purified, impure mind is removed, and you get a pure mind. With the pure mind, you meditate, and scattered mind is concentrated, you get a focused mind. With the pure mind, it's in Sanskrit, vikshepa. Ekagrata in Sanskrit. Ekagrata means focus. So, with focused mind and pure mind, when you come to Jnana Yoga, knowledge will come. This is in Sanskrit, Jnana is knowledge. And it removes ajnana, ignorance. What happens then? You realize that I am Brahman. And the problem is solved. You were Brahman anyway. You didn't know it. You need to know it. You try to know it, doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? Mind is scattered. Rajasika mind, when you come to Jnana Yoga, it's scattered and thinks of so many things. I often have this experience when I'm teaching Vedanta. I tell you Drigdrishya Viveka, the method of the seer and the seen, or the method of the analysis of the 5 levels of the human personality. And then somebody or the other will say, Swami, can I understand it in terms of space, time, energy, and this? Something else he has read somewhere, that comes in. Maybe at some time you can think about it later, but first learn what's being taught here. Don't bring in your theories right now. So, mind is scattered because of rajas. If the mind has so much tamas, then what will happen is Upanishad class, Jnana Yoga, going on, teacher is teaching. Then in Uttarakhand, suddenly some faint humming sound is coming somewhere. And this monk who's teaching, he says in Hindi, he says, Are Mishra ji, kya hua? Mishra ji, what happened? And he gets up like this. Tanik samadhi lag gayi thi. A little samadhi. I had a little samadhi. That is tamasic mind, falling asleep. The moment you start, it doze off. An occupational hazard I've discovered of being a student. I'm on this side, but I'm now getting the experience of sitting on your side, so I have all sympathy. So focus is required, otherwise scattered mind, unable to grasp. That is not working. Again, that is also not working. Why? Mind is full of desires. Mind is being pulled away from interiorizing. So that purity is required. And that's where Shankaracharya gives Karma Yoga. Notice, Shankaracharya does not say Karma Yoga will give you enlightenment. I am Brahman by Karma Yoga. No, no, no. Karma Yoga, then Bhakti or Raja Yoga, meditation basically. The word he likes is not Raja Yoga. Shankaracharya does not use this. Again, difficult to say. See, this is the problem of going to school. You have to be careful about what you say, because otherwise, day before yesterday, and they were saying in the classroom, every word you say you have to justify. You have to defend every word you put down. So there is actually a place where Shankaracharya uses the word Raja Yoga. It doesn't matter. He likes the word Upasana. He likes the word Karma, Upasana, Jnana. These are the words he uses.
Also, these are basically steps to take to realize Brahman. First and foremost is karma, then raja, and then jnana. If I'm understanding this correctly, I was wondering why he was listing all the different yogas. I guess this is specific to Sankara.
So, by these practices, by karma, purity of mind, chitta shuddhi, by upasana, concentrated mind, then by jnana yoga, we come to the Vedanta teaching, and then you will become enlightened. But in contrast to this, Vivekananda says, do it by work, do it by love, do it by meditation, do it by philosophy. He uses the word philosophy in his original description. By one or more or all of these, and be free. Is he doing something strange? Is he going against Shankara? Not necessarily. Because if you go to one of the later masters, Vishishtadvaita of Ramanuja, he also says all of these are necessary, but Ramanuja, he changes the order. Karma Yoga, always the poor guy at the bottom. And then he puts Jnana Yoga. And then Ramanuja puts Bhakti Yoga at the top. By Karma Yoga, preparation, purification of the mind, the usual function. And then by Jnana Yoga, you realize I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am a spark of divine consciousness. And then by Bhakti, you relate this individual spark of consciousness to the supreme consciousness. Jivatma to Paramatma. That's your relationship with God. Ramanuja puts it that way. All of the acharyas, they say that all the yogas are necessary. They don't reject the yogas. Basically, practically it boils down that we must do all of the yogas. Again, exception. So, in the Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition, if you go to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the teachers of Gaudiya Vaishnavism, they will actually say that, no, all of them are not necessary. Bhakti alone is enough to do everything. So, with that proviso. So here is the difference. Swami Vivekananda gives a lot of emphasis on Karma Yoga. It comes from the way he teaches Advaita Vedanta. Advaita Vedanta, to put it very simply, can be taught in one way, is that by emphasizing the falsity of the world to show the reality of Brahman, or by emphasizing the oneness of the world. That also shows the reality of Brahman. How? Remember the classic snake rope example? Rope is false, rope is true, snake is false. That's the result of having a heavy dinner. So, rope is true. You understand what example I'm talking about? Snake rope. So, rope is true, snake is false. You can say that the snake is false, one, or you can say snake is nothing other than the rope. The snake is really the rope, or even so far as to say the snake is real as the rope. Now, why are we talking about snakes and ropes here? Rope stands for Brahman, the ultimate reality. Snake stands for the world which we think is real. We thought the snake was real. When we investigated it, it turned out to be a rope. We think that this is the reality. When we investigate this, ourselves and the world, it turns out to be nothing other than Brahman. Often I indiscriminately use the word God. Some people objected. This is not technically correct, but I don't want to be technically correct because they are all referring to the same reality. One must at times make it a little fuzzy. Because if you make too many distinctions between Atman, Brahman, the god of religion and the god of different religions, you create an impression in the minds of people. You're talking about many different things. You're not actually.
That's what I was saying. It's a bit confusing when he uses God, because we have I don't know, because I guess the understanding of what God is, at least to me, in terms of the Western religion, is that God is something separate from reality. God created reality, but it is separate from God. We are separate from God, where we are a creation of God, but we are not God. So that's the reason why there needs to be this distinct difference between whenever he says God. At least this is my thinking. The reason why there needs to be a distinct difference between Brahman and God, because Brahman is, well, the way he defined it was all objects, all space, all time, and not limited by any of those. So that is not a living being, as far as I can tell. That's in a sense a classification of, makes sense, all of existence, including things that happen in the past, and that's going to happen in the future, and that's happening in the present. So, and that's why I was kind of confused at the very beginning when I was watching this, because it makes it seem like there's this Western God, not Western God, but a Western-like God, and what he's talking about doesn't seem like it, but at the same time does. And when the comments were making comments about it, it kind of seemed like it, but it doesn't. And I think it's because of the definition that's used, or the word God being used, and how Western people understand God, and how I understand God too as well. So, I mean, and the sheer fact also in Hinduism there are gods too. Was it Jivatman, I believe? Yeah, Jivatman, personal gods. So there is a distinct difference between Brahman, Atman, and Jivatman. God and Brahman itself, the millions of gods, versus the reality of it all. Unless that's not taught in his in Advaita Vedanta, that there's only one God and all these other gods, well, they're Maya still nonetheless. So the one true God as opposed to all the 330 million false gods.
There is only one thing all religion is trying to point out. Okay. So Swami Vivekananda, Shankara is approximately, put it, he is the person who's saying snake is false, Jagat Mithya, the world of it's an appearance, and hence Brahman is real. Swami Vivekananda is saying the snake is nothing other than the rope. The world is nothing other than God. See God in everything, in everybody, and it's true. It's true. Our whole problem is we think I am this much and everything else is separate from me. Shankara says all that is separate from you, put everything into that separateness. The world is separate from you, but the body is also not you. The mind is also not you. When you put it all away like that, then you discover the real you within, and you see everything else is an appearance. So that is reality. Brahman is real, the world is an appearance, and you are none other than Brahman.
Wow, okay, that makes so much more sense now after hearing the definition of God. All existence, all objects, all space, all time, not limited by those. And then also the Maya, the sheer fact that if you perceive it that way, I completely understand the fact that, well, if you think you're separate from everything else, and you find out where I am, and you have to realize that you're not the body, you're not the mind, because if you focus enough and get to that blankness, that void, the true Turiya. And if you believe in non-duality, of course, um, when you get to this void, you realize that you're not this body nor the mind, because there's this just voidness in there, and the mind is always busy. It's busy making your material body live, and always busy realizing all your hair follicles moving, and you breathing, and you know half your nose not working because it's stuffed up or something. Your mind's busy with all of that. And when you separate yourself from the mind, when you actually truly don't think about anything, you cannot be the mind, because the mind's always still busy, but yet you're separate from it. I still believe in duality thus far, but I completely understand it. Well, not completely understand. I understand a lot more of it now.
Karma plays a very secondary role there. But Swami Vivekananda says, the world is also nothing other than Brahman. You are also nothing other than Brahman. And all of these people are also nothing other than Brahman. And you can engage, work is also nothing other than Brahman. Truly understood, your activities in the world can be and should be spiritualized. Bhagavad Gita.
Sorry, before I go to the next topic. So it's kind of weird to say that you're not all these other objects in your Brahman, but you have to say that all these objects that you're not is you and is Brahman. It's like you're not these objects, but you are these objects. It's like, wait. Am I or am I not? You know, I can't be both. I'm either all of them or I'm none of them.
Take the verse we chant before food. Brahma arpanam brahmavi, brahma agno brahmanautam, brahmaiva tena gantavyam, brahma karma samadhina. Brahman is the offering. Brahman is the fire into which you offer. Brahman is the priest who makes the offering. Brahman is the action of offering. One who sees Brahman in all action. It does not say one who regards all action as false. It says one who sees Brahman in all action. That one attains to Brahman. That's what Swami Vivekananda is emphasizing. And don't think that he is deviating from traditional Advaita Vedanta. Ramana Maharshi, who is a very staunch Advaitin, taken as the epitome of modern Advaita. He says in one place, who can say the world is real? Our immediate response would be, we say, we are ignorant people, we think the world is real, the great enlightened people think the world is false. He says, no. It is only the enlightened person who can say the world is real. The enlightened person can say the world is real. Our saying the world is real has no value at all. We do not know what reality is. Then
I hope he answers, then how do we know who's enlightened and who is not? But he didn't say that there's no way to know what reality is. And then what is that path? Karma Yoga, Raja Yoga, and Jnana Yoga.
enlightened person realizes Brahman, the reality, and sees that everything is Brahman. That is the real world. What we live in is like a dream. But we're all talking about the same thing. I hope I've confused you enough. So this is the difference between Swami Vivekananda's approach. So Swami Vivekananda now regards the world as an appearance or as nothing other than Brahman, not real in itself. But if you know it truly, for the one who truly understands it, the world is actually a shining forth, a manifestation of Brahman. Just as every ornament is actually expressing golden ornament, expressing the gold within. Every wave is basically an expression of the water. In the same way, everything in this world is an expression of God. So Sri Ramakrishna's teaching, Shiva Jnane Jiva Seva.
So I want to a little bit clear that up. Whenever it says an expression of God, it makes it, again, with that definition word, or an expression of Brahman, makes it sound like Brahman is a live God to me. Like, you know, God. The Western God. Yahweh. But then whenever it says like the example of the gold, like different bracelets and rings are expression of the gold, an object. I'm sorry, not an inanimate. Well, an inanimate object represented in different inanimate ways. It's all gold, but it's just a matter of the shape. Its appearance. It's still reality. It's still gold. It's just that it's a shape of reality, I suppose. And we say it's a ring, but we say it's a ring made out of gold, made out of reality. We say it's a bracelet made out of gold. We say it's a ring made out of gold. We say it's a necklace made out of gold, an earring made out of gold. But all made out of gold, but just different realities or shapes of it. Again, questions I need to ask him specifically, but I get the point he's trying to make, that under all of that, the reality is gold.
Serve all beings knowing them to be Shiva. That becomes the basis for Swami Vivekananda's Karma Yoga. Serve all beings knowing them to be Shiva. Shiva means God. Knowing them. Not thinking about them. Not believing them to be Shiva. Knowing them to be Shiva. Just as you know that the waves are nothing but water, the ornaments are nothing but gold, all beings are nothing but God. So that's Vivekananda and Shankara in Karma Yoga. Okay, I'll make one more point quickly, and then we'll take a few questions. You have a question? Yeah. Quick clarification?
So in order to know that every person or who we serve is Shiva, you have to be an enlightened soul.
Yes, you have to be, in order to know that.
So until then you have to kind of believe.
Until then you have to believe, yes. How do we proceed? How do we proceed? In the path of bhakti, we take it on faith. Bhakti is a path of faith. And that's why I say, in one sadhu in Uttarakhand said, there are only two ways. Either you believe or you know. In Hindi, jano ya mano, do hi raste hain. Either you believe it or you know it. Now, in most of the world, especially Western world, in USA, religion is taken as faith. In fact, the word used for religion in USA is faith. But you know, that is an uneasy word for something like Buddhism. Buddhism is not faith in that sense. It's an uneasy word to apply to yoga, for example, Patanjali Yoga. We'll see Raja Yoga. And definitely it's not an appropriate word to apply to Advaita Vedanta. It's a path of knowing. Now, until you say, no, but until you know, you have to believe. Not in the sense that you believe in other religions. It's more like when you go to college, you go to a teacher. I give this example many times. What is our attitude to what the teacher is teaching in a physics class or a math class or somewhere?
I get what it's going. The example is going to be basically whenever they teach you something you don't know, you're going to have to take it. You have to believe in it, and then practice it to know it. Not a bad idea, actually. Not a bad example.
Our attitude is, the teacher is telling the truth. The textbooks are correct. I don't get it yet. Let me work at it, I'll get it. And the purpose is to get it. The purpose is not to believe it. Because, see, if the teacher tells you something and says, do you get it? And if you say, I don't understand, but you are great, I believe you. Teacher is not going to be happy at all. And so you have to understand it. That is the difference between the path of jnana and the path of bhakti. So in the path of jnana, always the effort is to understand. In the path of bhakti, you will be told, there's no point in trying to understand now. Believe it and live accordingly, and it will be shown to you in time. Usually post-mortem, after death.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay.
So there's no realization prior to that? It's only after death? It'll be shown to you in time. Usually in post-mortem. That is... Oof. I mean, I get, like I say, to me, there's a level of belief. Like you could, most of the time you can believe something to be true based on your past experiences, even though you never personally experienced. But I would say you should never ever say that it's absolutely true, especially if you don't know it to be true. You can say, I think it might be true, or I believe it to be true. It seems probable based on other experiences that I've had. But again, you should not definitively say, oh yeah, it's true, even though you've never seen it, never experienced it, or anything like that. So I do believe in saying it's okay to believe in something, but you just can't say that it's absolutely true unless you've experienced it or well, I mean that's about the only way you can prove it.
One more point quickly, and then I'm done. Are there snacks after 8:30? And are they available for some time, or will they disappear? Oh, 30 minutes, so I should not take too much time.
You had a big lunch. Man, you went through all that food really quickly and burning that energy.
Okay. That the effects of karma. Yes.
What do you mean by jano ya mano?
Jano ya mano.
What do you mean by that?
Mano means believe it. God exists. Karma exists. After death you will continue to exist. Before birth you were there. How do I know that? If you say, no, you don't know it, you have to believe it. That's one path. Most religion is like that.
Yeah.
Another path is that I am not the body and mind. This actually can be understood, not believed. So Jnana Yoga is the path of understanding it. Jano means jnana, knowledge. It's not question of believing it. You have to understand it. The effort is continuously to understand it. And it can be understood. The whole point is that we do not understand. And the point is to understand it. The problem is we don't understand. The solution is to understand. Remember, understanding is not the end of it. That understanding has to deepen into enlightenment or realization. But understanding is part of it. The other path, understanding is not so much important. Doing it is important. Karma Yoga. In Bhakti Yoga, doing or understanding is not that much important. Believing, having faith is important. So, different paradigms. Just to address your point, karma has three effects. Karma, action has three effects in the sense we mean karma. What are the three effects? One is the immediate effect. You give food to a hungry person, the hungry person is fed and the hunger is removed. Direct effect, everybody sees it, no question about it. Second is what you said, an effect on your own mind. Keep doing it and you develop the good habit of sharing, the joy of doing things for others. Psychological effect, it's called samskara. Third one is karma phala, which we talked about here. In Sanskrit, papa punya, merit, demerit, which will result in some pleasant or unpleasant effect, sukha dukkha. So the law is like this: dharma, good action, consciously done, leads to punya. These are words which are used by just about every Indian, but we use it unthinkingly. Dharma leads to punya. Punya means merit. Merit leads to sukha, happiness. So the meaning is all good things which are happening to us now are because of some merit we have. And that we earned in earlier lives. But equally, all the unpleasant things happening to us, nobody's fault. It's we who have generated it. We've set in motion mighty energies, though subtle, in some ancient time, and the result we are getting now.
That's an interesting way of looking at itself. A responsibility, I'd say. I mean, again, I have. There's a great influence in the Western world and me. So there are a lot of people out there who don't take responsibility for their action, which is something I fully support. Responsibility for your action. Understand that whatever happens to you, in some parts it is part your fault. Amazingly, this kind of falls in line with that. And I don't know if everything necessarily, but for the most part, it is some part your fault. And I think that, in my opinion, brings power to an individual, knowing that they had an input on things that happen in their life. And when they know that, I think it gives them great power to do better, to do good things. Because I think if people start believing in faith, as Sadhguru said, fate and destiny. Destinies whenever you take charge. I mean, it's weird. To me, destiny and faith seem similar, but we'll use this terminology. So faith basically is that things are in place and you have no control over it. No matter what you do, you are fated that fated that fate. But yeah, so you could do all the great things in the world, and all of a sudden, bad outcomes will happen to you. and it could be because of your past karma. But that would develop in someone's mind that, you know, they can do good things and still have bad results, and it wasn't their fault. But it could be just because they believe that they're doing good things and not actually doing good things. They're doing good things, but it was meant for them and them alone, and they got caught. Or, you know, they're trying to do something, trying to better their lives, but they think they're doing good things for themselves, and maybe not bad things for anyone else, but good things for themselves. But because of stuff happening, they say, there's nothing I can do to change my faith, which de-empowers the person. So that's why I do believe in taking responsibility on things that's happening in your life, at least some of it, not necessarily all of it. And hopefully that'll give someone a power, and that's what I hope. I hope people out there realize that they have control over their lives, like Sadhguru was talking about, which I absolutely do believe. And when they realize that, I hope when they realize that hey, look, you know, you have control over your life. You don't have control over other people, that's for sure. But hopefully that empowers them to do better, to change their life for the better.
So adharma leads to papa. Papa means sin or demerit. And papa leads to dukkha. And they are all limited. Consciously done good action generates some limited amount of merit. That generates some limited amount of nice things. Similarly. So, and that's why there is no unlimited heaven or unlimited hell. There are limited heavens and limited hells. And they are all worldly. This worldly, that worldly, but all worldly. They are not spiritual. Spirituality is freedom from all of this. Freedom from the whole mess. Worldly mess and otherworldly mess. Worldly mess is called this, and otherworldly mess is that. That stands for heaven and hell. Both are mess. And freedom from this causality is, so Swami Vivekananda's poem, good, good, bad, bad, and none escape the law, but whosoever wears a form wears the chain too. This much is karma. Then what is Vedanta? Far beyond name and form is Atman ever free. Know thou art that. Say Om Tat Sat. Now thou art that sannyasi bold. Say Om Tat Sat. So on that beautiful note, let's end. Those who want to, let me do a Shanti chant. And those who want to grab a quick snack, I'll wait for questions, don't worry. But we don't want the snacks to run away. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Rupanamastu. Yes. Yes. Or you can pass the microphone, or you can come up here and ask.
That's one thing I'm a bit confused about. Like, all these different people or deities, Krishnamurti, the one he talked about just a few seconds ago, Ramna Krishna, Shiva, was there another one? They all say God, though. Shiva, he just said Shiva means God. But then Ramakrishna. Then there's a few others. I guess, I don't know if they're mythology gods or part of just a story, or whether there are gods that are expressed in different parts of Hinduism. So it's a little confusing sometimes when they start calling out these other gods. I know, I believe Sadhguru worships Shiva, I think. But then is Shiva Brahman? Atman Brahman? and Ramna Krishna? There's so many, I just don't know if they're meaning the same thing, different things, or what.
Yes. Yes. Or you can pass the microphone, or you can come up here and ask the question. And others, please feel to leave. Question? Life is only real when I am, yes. My own, just repeat the comment.
Just the comment was that Gurdjieff has a book named Life is Only Real When I Am.
Very deep point. Yes, the question.
So can you explain a little bit more the difference between bhokta and cosmic result? Is this bhokta, is this life you enjoy it? Or is
Bhokta means bhoga, that means to experience. Bhoga can be of two types. Bhoga means to experience, to have some experience. It could be a pleasant experience, which is called ishta, which means desirable experience. An unpleasant experience, pain and disease and unhappiness and failure. So it's called anishta, undesirable experience. But both are bhoga, and I am the bhokta. The moment I say, I see, I hear, I smell, I taste, I touch, so I suffer, I enjoy, I am bhokta. And for that, I do work to get the desirable bhoga, the objects of enjoyment, and to avoid undesirable experiences. This is called bhoktritva. So karma is connected with bhoktritva.
I'm also trying to understand these things. The reason why I have CC up is just in case I didn't quite hear it, and I can see it and I can read it. Connected with rope trick tour, yeah. Because I'm trying to associate how you pronounce words and seeing how it's spelled, and it's not helping when Google Translate is not doing a good job.
yeah, but even the cosmic result is the same thing, isn't it?
No, cosmic result is by doing karma, these experiences come to me. The bhoga comes to me. The bhoga is generated by the cosmic result.
Whether you do anything or not, right?
Bhoga is the thing which you experience. The thing will come to you. Pleasant and unpleasant things, desirable, undesirable things will come to you, and you will experience it. I will experience it. So I am the bhokta, but the thing which I experience, that is the cosmic result.
Well, I'm going to rewind that real quick.
Thing will come to you, pleasant and unpleasant things, desirable, undesirable things will come to you, and you will experience it. I will experience it. So I am the bhokta, but the thing which I experience, that is the cosmic result. That is generated by my past karma. So all the things that we experience, it comes to us because of our past karma. And these are not good things. None of the whole thing is not good news at all. From a spiritual point of view, this is samsara. This is what we are trapped in endlessly. And to expand beyond this into our infinite nature is freedom. Yes.
Swamiji, I'm confused about what you said about Shankaracharya's teaching, the cause and effect. Does the karma yoga purify your mind, or does purifying your mind make you a karma yogi?
No, karma yoga, when you practice karma yoga, purifies the mind. We can immediately see why. What is the essence of this kind of impurity? It's selfishness. So trying the best to, my level best to make this particular body happy. Why am I trying to make it happy? As Victoria said, I am this. Obviously I will try to make it happy because I am this. But Vedanta insists you are not this. Fatal error. One day this body will age and decay and die in spite of our best efforts. And I'm gone also. No, that's the problem. You'll still be there. You'll suddenly realize, I spent my lifetime taking care of the car. Now the car is broken and gone, I'm still there. I should have used the car for my purposes. But I lived my life trying to take care of the car. And this is from a famous science fiction story written in the 60s, 50s. Report on Planet 3 or something. An alien has come and sees this planet. It never mentions Earth, but it sends a report back to its home planet. I found an inhabited planet, inhabited by intelligent and powerful beings. Here is a report. These intelligent and powerful beings who inhabit this land, this planet, they are shiny, made of metal, and they have 4 wheels. And they have servants whom they carry within themselves. And those servants clean them, feed them, maintain them, they do everything for them.
Wow.
That is a commentary on the car culture in 1950s, 60s in US, when it was booming. Very intelligent science fiction story. I'll come to you. Let her ask first. I'll come back to you. You had a question. I'll come.
If my experience is the result of my karma, good and bad, then how do you reconcile that with the concept that God is the doer and I'm merely the instrument?
Yes. We cannot. The only thing is because we do not feel that. So that God is the doer and I am merely the instrument, then you are a perfect karma yogi. That is the highest level of karma yoga. Let me quickly state 3 levels. Karma yoga also has levels. People don't understand this. First level of karma yoga, phalatyaga. Second level of karma yoga, karmatyaga. And third level of karma yoga, kartritva tyaga. What does it mean? Phalatyaga means giving up the result. I am doing the work not because I want the thing for myself. I am doing the work as worship of the Lord. So the results I consign unto the Lord. So renunciation of the result mentally. Second, higher level than this. Renunciation of the work itself. Not that I will not do the work. I will do the work, but I have no more choice regarding the work. I do not. Swami Vivekananda said about this second level, neither seek nor avoid. We have choice, likes and dislikes about the work. But if it is all worship of the Lord, why should I say I will worship in this way and not worship in that way?
So basically, this goes back. I don't know why it brings up the memory I had with my world religion class about Buddhism. At least the teachings of that is the fact that give 110% but expect nothing from it. So that if something good happens while you were expecting that, or that's great, and if something bad happens, then well, you weren't expecting nothing. You weren't expecting it at all anyway. You weren't expecting results from it, which is honestly a really good way to live life. And I needed to rewind it to listen to what she said. But it was the way it was phrased. But whenever he clarified it about the fact that don't live for the result, just do what you need to do and happily accept the results at the end. I believe that's what he's trying to say, just in a very long form.
That person really feels. So work becomes, it is a worship. And then third level is that kartritva tyaga. I am not the doer also. That is difficult to understand now because we inevitably feel I am the doer, and that comes of deep identification with the body and mind. At the third level, one begins to clearly see nature is doing everything. God is doing everything through nature, through Maya. All impulses. Think about it. Where do our thoughts come from? From thoughts comes speech. From thoughts comes speech and action. But where does the thought come from? We think I am thinking the thought. Not true. If you just watch a little bit, it bubbles up from unknown depths of our consciousness. Everything here is being done by nature. Bhagavad Gita says, Prakrityeva karmani kriyamanani sarvasha. Prakriti alone does every action here in the entire universe. And scientists will be so happy. Bhagavad Gita says, absolutely correct. Everything here is done by nature. Not one thing is done by you, the conscious being. Ya pashyati tathatmanam akartaram sapashyati. The one who sees oneself in that way, that I am not the doer, nature is the doer.
Okay.
That person sees the consciousness within does not do anything. Here.
So basically, because you're not the body, you're not the mind, you're this Turiya, as he explains it, that you're not actually doing any of these things, and the results of these things are not of your doing, but nature itself, because this material body is part of nature, the mind is part of nature. You eat, and your body replenishes itself, replaces different cells die, and it gets replaced by the food that you eat. That's everything in your body. I think I forget how many years, but you're basically a new human being every, 8 years or something like that? Every cell in your body has been replaced. There's not an original cell in your body after, I think, 8 years. So that's what he's saying about nature, how every cell in your body is basically nature. And this thought, who I am, who I is the Turiya. It's something separate from your body. And therefore you cannot be at fault of karma, I believe. And it makes sense if this thought is pure, untarnished by the world, untarnished by thoughts, emotions, or actions, then it can never be affected by karma. I think there had something else there, but I can't remember now. But that's where it kind of clicked.
He does not bring God into the equation at all. But the devotee will say, God does everything. That was the whole meaning of the song we started with. Shakoli tomari ichha. All is thy will, my divine mother. You do thy work. People say, I am doing the work. You make the lame cross mountain ranges, and you trap the elephant in a swamp. You make somebody enlightened, Brahma Jnana, and the other you plunge into the mires of samsara. We think we are doing it. I am a great saint by my efforts. That person is a sinner. No, ultimately you will see God is behind everything. That's fun for the enlightened person, not so much fun for the sinner who's trapped. But even that so-called sinner is also nothing other than God. That person is also ultimately safe. So at that level, no more that I am the experiencer of the results. You will not think I am the doer. I am not even the experiencer. You're already free. That's the highest level of karma yoga. Work and worship, first level. Work is there and worship is there, first level. Second level, work as worship. I know it's work, but I'm now trying to see it as worship. It's a practice. Third level, work is worship. We have a slogan for this, work is worship. Not so easy at all. If work is worship, we would always feel that we are, we are always as good as deep meditation. Then you really should go for the snacks. Chalo, we will take it up later. Hold on to your question. We'll talk about it as we go along. I can see that if I don't go, nobody's going.
Oh, that's good. Okay, we gotta rewind it back to that question that she asked. Where was that at? Oh, here we go. I think.
This planet. It never mentions Earth, but
good and bad.
Feed them, maintain them, they do everything for them.
Kind of want to watch, if that's
That
a movie,
is a
I kinda
commentary
wanna
on the
watch
car
it.
culture in 1950s, 60s in US when it was booming. Very intelligent science fiction story. I'll come to you. Let her ask first, I'll come back to you. You had a question, I'll come.
If my experience is the result of my karma, good and bad, then how do you reconcile that with the concept that God is the doer and I'm merely the instrument?
Yes.
I think the mic was cutting out so bad. How can you reconcile the fact that God is the doer, the instrument? But I understand it now after you explained it.
That God...
Karma, good and bad. How do you reconcile the not... Hey, at least Google's tried. I mean, Mike.
God is the doer and I'm merely the instrument.
Yes.
If my experience is the result of my karma, good and bad, then how do you reconcile that with the concept that God is the doer and I'm merely the instrument?
Yes.
Okay, I get it. Yeah, basically, because you are God and you are not the body, the instrument is... This instrument is just doing what God wants to do. Basically what she said. I get it now, especially after you explained that part, yes. Because again, if you can separate yourself, you're the Turiya, the body, the mind, the emotion is not you. You're this pure consciousness that's unaffected by the world, unaffected by emotions, unaffected by thoughts. And you'll always ever be pure. Nothing can ever corrupt you. And I laughed earlier about whenever he said something about thought just bubbling up. I was just thinking of like you're just sitting there in the blackness of cave and you can't see anything. All of a sudden, whoop, a thought comes up. You're like, what the heck? He's like, I want that. And the thought disappears. You're just like in a random black cave where there's no light or anything. All of a sudden a thought just manifested itself in front of you and you're like, whoa, hey, I want that. Oh, there it goes. I don't know why I thought of that whenever he said it. Just the thought just manifests itself, because that's how he explains thought. Is in your Turiya, your true self is in this void. There's nothingness, is blackness, until a thought manifests. Until you say, I want something. Anyways, that's the final part of this part 1. So there's another part, I believe, which is going to be a 2-parter, but I'm going to have a few videos in between. So anyways, that's the end of part 1. If you like my content, please consider subscribing. Thumbs up, thumbs down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vid.